I rise in opposition to the amendment.
Gentleman's recognized.
I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentleman from Colorado is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in strong opposition to this amendment to add a package of divisive and unrelated partisan lands bills to the NDAA. First of all, this amendment has nothing to do with national defense. It's a travesty that the majority has jammed these issues together. Collectively, this package of ideologically driven bills impacts lands in Colorado, California, and Washington by creating about 1.3 million acres of new wilderness. But this will greatly reduce opportunities for multiple uses on these public lands, limit access to them, and significantly reduce the available productive acreage in working forests, rendering them more prone to catastrophic wildfires. In Colorado alone, this would designate about 570,000 acres of new wilderness areas, 23,000 acres of expanded wilderness, and 14,000 acres of potential wilderness, whatever potential wilderness is. This is in a state where we have 3.5 million acres of wilderness right now. And while I commend my colleague from Colorado for her attempts to work with local stakeholders to address some of their concerns, none of the bills in this package comes close to the type of balance and consensus necessary for a bill of this magnitude. Many of the local communities impacted by this package have raised significant concerns. Now, look, I love public lands, as does the sponsor of this legislation. My wife and I hiked a national park in Moab last week. And while wilderness sounds good to the uninformed, it really means that most people will forever lose access to those lands. Local communities have many concerns with this bill. At the July subcommittee hearing on this bill, we heard testimony from Montezuma County Commissioner Keenan Ertl, who shared the county's concern that this bill will negatively impact individual landowners, agricultural entities, water providers, first responders, and especially the recreation tourism industry. Garfield County has also weighed in against this bill because of the increased wildfire risk. In addition to the local grievances, the affected federal land management agencies have stated that this bill is inconsistent with previous designations and existing land uses because it arbitrarily adds wilderness areas and wild scenic rivers designations where those designations are simply not supported. Now, actually, there is one connection to national defense, and that's a negative one. By designating the High Altitude Aviation Training Site, or HATS, as being within a wilderness area, it won't be able to expand if and when future vertical lift platforms come online. And future platforms that will fly higher, farther, and faster, and they will need more space, and this amendment prevents that. So because of all these concerns, the Trump administration rightly issued a veto threat against this bill when it first came up to the House in February. I ask my colleagues to oppose this amendment, and I reserve the balance of my time.